My crazy mother-in-law wore a white dress to my wedding, but she wasn't prepared for my revenge. My boyfriend and I have been dating for over 10 years, and we've been through a bunch of ups and downs. I often like to think that we've gone through all the hurdles that would break most couples to shreds. We've been through it all, so that should already tell you a lot when I say we still struggle when it comes to his mom. My fiancé has a close relationship with his mother, which by itself isn't a bad thing. I find it heartwarming to know he still has tight-knit family values because it reflects how he will be when we start our own family. That said, his mom has always been a thorn in our side. For context, she insisted that she join us when we went to Disneyland. We only let her come with us because it is the happiest place on earth. She did try to stay in the same room we were staying in, which was already weird, but my fiancé managed to convince her to stay in a separate room. Now that we're getting married, we managed to keep her interference down to a minimum since we moved to a new place 2 hours from where she lived. She was just too busy to constantly drive over and turn our wedding into a celebration all about her, or so we thought. I knew it was just too good to be true. We managed to book a venue without her grumbling too much about our choice. She did put up a fight about the catering service, but my fiancé got her to stop complaining once he told her they would have her favorite dishes included. Our first sign of trouble was when she wanted to invite over 30 of her friends to our wedding. We wanted to keep it a small wedding with only 60 or so guests, so giving half of the seats to her was outright ridiculous. My family was coming, and we also had some old friends and co-workers attending as well. My mother-in-law tried to fight for it, but when we told her the seats for important family and friends had already been reserved and paid for, she had no choice but to back down. She had to settle for just 10 of her friends, which, by my account, is still too many for her to bring. I'm the one getting married here, not her. However, it all came to a horrifying crescendo a week before the wedding. Our wedding didn't have a strict theme to follow, and the bridesmaids didn't have to wear one specific kind of dress. The guests didn't have to wear anything too specific either. We wanted our wedding to be a relaxed and fun occasion. My mother-in-law saw that as yet another opportunity to turn our wedding into an event all about her. I just received my wedding dress, and we were spending some time marveling at it. That was when my mother-in-law jumped out of her seat and said that she wasn't about to lose to my wedding dress. That in of itself was already alarming. Since when was a wedding some kind of competition? She said her dress was even more stunning and was going to make her look like a star. Calling on her bluff, my fiancé and his sister dared their mom to put it on and show it to us. Of course, my mother-in-law did. The moment she walked into the living room and showed off her dress, the whole room went silent with dread. My mother-in-law was wearing her wedding dress. All eyes fell on me as people wondered if I was going to freak out. I kept my composure, however, and calmly did my best to fight the tears and anger. I simply swallowed my pride and asked her, just to verify, if that was indeed her original wedding dress. She said it was, but she had it slightly adjusted and refashioned to make her look even sexier than before. When my mother-in-law left to go back to her place, my fiancé, his sister, and some of our friends all asked what I intended to do. Everyone advised my fiancé and me to talk to my mother-in-law and convince her to change her mind. My fiancé knew, however, that there was no backing down from this one. My mother-in-law had her mind set on wearing her wedding dress to her son's wedding, and that wasn't going to change, no matter what we do. The last thing we wanted was for her to cause trouble. That was when a genius idea popped into my head, and I relayed it to all our guests as soon as I could. The good news was most of them hadn't picked out a dress yet and were still going to rental shops to try stuff on. Everyone got the gist of my problem, and they were all excited with the plan I had to fix it. On the day of our wedding, I had a makeup artist arrive early. There were 4 bridesmaids and my maid of honor, and I also paid so that the artist could also do some work on our closest friends. I told my mother-in-law to be early, but as expected, she insisted on going to her favorite salon to get her hair and makeup done by someone of her choosing. According to her, she didn't trust her face with some unknown, despite the fact that the makeup artist I hired was quite a popular choice in our city. Since she didn't want to participate in our plans, she wasn't at the venue on time and had no clue about our plan. In fact, to further make her the center of attention on our wedding day, she intentionally came late. When she did arrive, she made sure everyone could see her in her white wedding gown. To be completely honest and fair, she looked stunning in it, but that's beside the point. You're not supposed to wear white to someone else's wedding, let alone wear your old white wedding dress to your son's wedding. She knew that, and she still made that decision. Imagine the look of surprise on her face when she entered the venue and saw everyone wearing white flowy dresses. She was horrified and was on the verge of bursting into tears. That's when my bridesmaid stepped in to tell her how witty she was for coming up with the idea of wearing white. If she hadn't shown off her wedding dress a week ago, nobody would have done it too. This was all her bright idea. I then walked up to her and thanked her profusely for helping to make our wedding so special and beautiful. I told her she was a genius, and now everyone could feel special and not left out. Since she didn't want to feel like a moron, she played along. I did catch her more than a few times, staring down at the glass of red wine in her hand, probably wondering if there was a way she could make it look like it accidentally spilled on her, or me for that matter. So one of us would have to change outfits. To my surprise, she held that villainous plan in and decided to just keep a straight face for the rest of the wedding day. That charade ended when the wedding was over and they all went home. As soon as my husband and I departed for our honeymoon, she immediately called him and tried to make it look like I ruined her special day. My husband, knowing how it all played out, said he had no idea what she was talking about and simply thanked her for making our wedding so special.